year. We're on the 26th of Adar. It marks the Hilula of a very famous rabbi from especially the 1800s. His name was Harab Chaim Yehoshua Elazar HaCohen Hamtsi. Zecher Tzadik Libracha. He was born in English year 1795. He passed away in 1881. He was approximately about 86 years of age at the time he passed away. He'll become part of one of the great rabbis of Izmir in Turkey, respectively. Very much be part of, let's say, head of Jewish court in Haifa of its time, a rabbinic judge, let's just say, Rab Hosek also, and very, very much is one, let's say, one of the most famous rabbis from the development of the Jewish settlement in that specific city in itself. Haifa, remember, at that point in time, many Jewish people come later on and settle the whole land of Israel as time progressed, but he was one of the first people there. So he was born actually in Izmir in Turkey. Remember, Turkey at that point in time was part, I think, of the Ottoman Empire. And let's say the main Torah across the entire world was taking place around those different vicinities over there. And it was in the year 1795, it was reported over. And very, very much, I think he came from very great rabbinic heritage in of itself. And I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, the firstborn to Rivka, who happened to be Rabbanit Rivka, who happened to be the daughter of Rab Chaim Yitzchak Al-Gazi and Rab Yosef HaCohen Hamtsi, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Rab Yitzchak Al-Gazi was one of the famous rabbis, part of the Ottoman Empire in his time. He was a chief rabbi in Izmir and Moret Tzedek, and very, very much a great rab of his point in time. Now, it's actually interesting. The report is over in another place. Maybe he was born in the 1806, but according to the main place here, it says 1795. So I'll have to double check on that. Okay, his father, I think, was very well known inside the city. He owned and established 2 different yeshivot. And many of the great city rabbis would actually learn that. I think at the time when he was born, his name was Elazar, and later the name Chaim and Yehoshua was added to his name. He grew up surrounded by a galaxy of great Talmidei Chachamim, and he would learn inside the Bet Midrash over there, called the Bet Yitzchak, which I think was established from his father in of the house vicinity in of itself. He became an expert rabbi over there. And I think his most prominent rabbi, who he would learn from, was another rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Rabbi Yehoshua, Rabbi Pinchas de Shiruga, who happened to be, I believe, the head of Jewish court, Kabbalist, halachic decider in Izmir, and the author of the Ut Hey Lo'am, if I'm not mistaken. Other rabbis who would study with included Rabbi Yitzchak Meyo, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, great Torah scribe from, let's say, from Izmir and halachic decider. Rabbi Chaim Pelagi was another one of the great rabbis who would learn with, famous Kabbalist and one of the great sages and posek, probably arguably one of the most well-known Turkish rabbis in Jewish history. Rav Shlomo Hakim, another great rabbi, who was among the great sages and the author of the Mishnah Torah, the Melacha Shlomo, if I'm not mistaken. And Rabbi David Amado, another great rabbi, he himself, Rabbi Amado, was also a Dayan, a judge and head of yeshiva, and really was a kiruv worker in Izmir, respectively. He had many other great rabbis at that stage in time. He had close correspondence with, including Rabbi Avram Pelagi, the son of Rabbi Chaim Pelagi, who was part of, like, say, the rabbinic dynasty of the Pelagi family. Rabbi Rachamim Nisim Yitzchak Pelagi, another great rabbi, head of Jewish court. He happened to be himself, and the author of the Affair Lelev. Harav Chaim Benyamin Pontromoli, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. He was known under the book of the Petach Hadvir, Posek Halacha, and one of the great rabbis of Izmir. I think also there was other rabbanim, including Rab Yitzchak Jokrikil and his son, and Rab Rachamim Nisim Yehuda de Shigura. So these were really great rabbis of the highest Kabbalah of that point in time. The latter actually authored the book, the Magid Dvarav, which was a book basically on Haggadah or Pesach. Then come with the year 1860, at that stage in time, depending on when he was actually born, according to the opinions, he would emigrate to the land of Israel, and he would actually go to Haifa, where he would be appointed to serve as a rabbi over there, and he would be there, I think, and work as the head of the Jewish court in the local court over there until the time he passed away. Now, it's interesting. We've spoken on this series about many great rabbis in the 1800s who were rabbis in Tiberias, Tzvat, Hebron, Jerusalem, those respective 4 main, let's say, the holy cities of Israel. But we speak less about the rabbis that might have been in other parts of Eretz Yisrael. So he very much was part of Haifa. I think come what the year 1865 will be, he would actually move to an area called Peki'in. I think this is based are more towards the northern part of Israel, if I'm not mistaken, surrounded by villages, if I'm not mistaken. That actually, so around that specific vicinity of that time, I don't know if it had the same name at that stage, but I think there was a cholera epidemic that broke out in Haifa, so he would actually move there. I think from Haifa, he continued to correspond with various different rabbis from Izmir and various different other communities across the world on halachic matters and other topics that were like main topics of those different vicinities at that stage in time. Now, it's reported that he passed away on the 27th of March in English 1881. So that was naturally the 26th of Adar. Hey, Taf Reish Mem Aleph, being the Hebrew year. It was reported over he was buried in Haifa. So that's actually interesting. So we're talking about nearly 145 years ago, close to that. And he would, it's actually interesting. Now, among his descendants, there was Moshe and Elazar HaCohen Hamtsi, and they were, I think, some of the innovations were included, I think, in the father's book. There was Yosef Ephraim Bolisa Luna, who would actually get married, reported over to Lord Shlomo Raphael HaCohen and Astrid. Very interesting enough. So, Bolisa Luna got married to, sorry, not Lord, he was a Gvir. He was a philanthropist, person that was very, very wealthy, I believe. Now, among the books that he actually, let's just say he wrote, he authored in of itself, I think many of them would actually remain in manuscript form, if I'm not mistaken, but among the books included the Ko Tevarcho, which is Dinei Nisiat Kapayim, let's just say. Interesting. I think maybe it was done in an alphabet order. It would come out, I think, through a Machon Morosha or Machon Emrei David B'Yerushalayim, if I'm not mistaken. It would be printed in 2 editions. Then there was a Lavesh HaKohen, which is Drushim and Chidushim, various different sermons and teachings and novelties that was printed in Izmir in Turkey in the Taf Reish Memtet. Then the Maaseh Avot, which is Perush on Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers, the Mishnah, itself was Ketabiyat that was actually found, I think, after he passed away, I think came through the Machon Avat Shalom. And then there was Maaseh Echiyah, Chet Yud Aleph, which is Perush on the Haggadah of Passover, the liturgy for the Seder of the Passover night. And that would also be printed, I think, come out through the Avat Shalom institutions in of itself. Now, also among, let's just say, there was other writings, I believe, writings that included were in manuscript, including commentary on the Book of Psalms, various legal rules that was actually put, and sermons, which was put in an alphabetical order. But it's his Hilula here on the 26th of Adar. Among his rabbis include the famous Rabbi Yitzchak Meir and Rabbi Chaim. He passed away 144 years ago here from time of recording. Reported that he was 86 years of age. Please don't forget to light candles in his memory. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. We have already covered about nearly 850 great Chachamim of yesteryear here. Maybe covered about 130 Turkish Rabbanim. If you happen to be related to any of the great Chachamim, I would love to hear more. Please let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe now. We're on more than 6,000 subscribers over here. If anyone would be interested in watching any of these videos, please share the videos to other people that will be interested and tell them all to watch over the previous videos of this, like, let's say, video encyclopedia of the great Chachamim. So wishing you blessings here from Israel. Take care and be well, everyone. Wishing you all well.